Today's video is going to be a stock take on my shield sovereigns. I have three new ones here to show you as well. So we have an 1870, which I will pop in there. We've got an 1877 and we've got an 1878. So today I want to go through basically the different sovereigns, have a closer look at them, and you can see my nice little layout I've got going on with the dates. So first up we'll go from the most recent, which is 1886. So we can see some nice detail in the hair there. I will flip the coin over and reasonable detail here. So I'd say that's a nice enough coin. There might be some in here which I want to, upgrade over time. There might be some that I'm, happy with and don't want to change. And there might be some really nice ones that we've come across, so we will take a look. We have an 1885, which is in pretty nice condition, little tiny mark on the cheek. The lighting setup I've got and the camera do highlight any little imperfections, and it often makes them look a lot worse than they actually are to the eye, which I suppose is good and bad. So this is a Sydney Sovereign, 1885. Next one I have put in a capsule because I picked it out as being particularly nice, 1884. That is probably one of my better shield sovereigns. It is a lovely coin, very good detail. That little scratch behind the hair is on the capsule. And this is a Melbourne shield sovereign. So the Melbourne ones I think are a bit more rare than others, so that would be interesting to note. 1883 we have two coins. Let's see if I can get them both side by side. So we have two, both pretty nice coins. There is a slight mark on the right hand one on the neck. In terms of detail in the hair, they both look pretty similar. If it was me, I would probably go for the one on the left based on the portrait. Let me know if you think different. So I'm thinking, yeah, left hand side is slightly nicer. I will just flip to the shield side as well. So you see they're both Sydney shields. The one on the left does look cleaner. It could just be the sort of light or the angle, but does just look like it has a bit more detail, but it is close. So both nice enough. 1882 is another one. A little nick on the neck there. Otherwise, a tiny bit of wear just sort of in front of the ear into the hair there. Again, tiny bit of wear. Pretty nice coin nonetheless. So what I could do, I'm not going to do it today, but in future, this is in Melbourne as well. Melbourne mint mark there in the bottom centre. What I could do in the future as well is weigh them all and code them all. If you were to put them in a capsule, you could have a little reference number or something like that, and that would maybe be useful. But this is an 1881. There's a little nick near the R, little dent. It's only a tiny nick there, yeah, you don't really notice it until you see it under the light there. Lovely detail, very nice coin. Not one I would be too worried about replacing, and that has an S. So that is a Sydney shield sovereign. So moving on, 1880. And yeah, a little bit more wear on the ear there, north of the ear on the hair. Decent condition, yeah. There's, like I say, some in here that I possibly have got just for filling the date for now. This is a Sydney again. But I do generally just buy them. It depends. If the price is low enough, I'll buy one that's a bit more marked to fill the date. If the price is higher, though, I want to make sure I get a decent one. And I wouldn't overpay for, one that's heavily worn just to fill a date. Maybe for the first three, but probably not still. So 1879, again quite a nice coin here. I didn't remember them all being so nice, so doing quite well so far. Nothing too horrific. That is a Sydney again. Now we have three for 1878. Let me just try and get them all together. I'm not sure what I'm going to do for these where I've got like 4 or 5. So I'm looking at these and thinking, if you look at the hairline, probably the top right is the nicer coin. There's a bit more wear on the bottom right. The one on the left there, somewhere in the middle. Let's just carefully flip them over. And we have Sydney on the left, Sydney at the bottom, Sydney on the top right. So all three are Sydneys there. Bit of a coincidence how we've ended up with them all, but there we go. So yeah, I think the top right one there was slightly nicer. Anyway, 1877. So here, just looking at those two, I have two different ones here. Similar, probably give it to the one on the left. Yeah, very similar, very close, that one. In terms of those, both Sydneys again, so very similar coins. And both the same. So we only have one for 1875 because 1876 doesn't exist, wasn't minted. So this is again a very nice coin, nice detail. Tiny bit of wear in the hair there, just, you know, tiny bit though. Still some nice surface finish. And this one is Sydney again, so quite a few of these later dates are Sydney sovereigns, it seems. Next up, I've got two here of 1874. Now, one has a little bit of ink on it, so it's not actually damaging the coin, it's not like a scratch or anything, but it does just look a bit unsightly. So there's a tiny nick on the neck. Ooh, it's close, but they're both pretty nice actually. I would probably say the one on the right, but it is close. So if there was no ink on the left, it would probably go to that one, but pretty similar. So I'll just flick them over. We can take a look at the shields. So we've got both Melbourne as well. Interestingly, both the same mint mark. The one on the left definitely has better definition on the shield. If you look at the three lines on the bottom right hand side of the shield, they do have a bit more definition, I think, as I sort of see them in person. So 1874 on to 1873, and bit of fluff, there we go. Yeah, so it's a pretty clear cut, you know, one is the nicer coin there. That is the left one, obviously, in case you're not sure, but you know, right one, it's not bad. It's one I would be, you know, probably look to move on if I had to thin down the shield sovereigns. Would probably thin down some of the, you know, lesser condition coins. Interestingly, we have a die number on the left, so that is, I think it's number 14, so that's a London. And the one on the right is a Sydney S, so interesting. I think it's an S, it might be a die number as well, but it wasn't that the Sydney sovereigns were always made. They were, you know, produced from a certain date, which I know is around there, but I can't just remember, so best have a look on that before I comment on it on a video. Let me just put that one back. So 1872, 1871 and 1853 seem to be my most common years. There were higher mintage years, you know, like I think nearly 10 million for the 1853. Rings a bell, but anyway, there were higher mintage in general. For example, 1841 was a lower mintage in like the hundreds of thousands, you know, less than a million by quite a margin. Some other years, you know, you've got a few million, but 1872 seems to be quite a high mintage year. So probably the left hand two are the nicer coins in terms of this. Yeah, that top left definitely has less wear. Look at the detail in the hair there. Very nice coin. Bit of wear on these right hand too, but you know, still worth having in the stack nonetheless. And I will just show the shield side. So, like I say, this video is more of a stock take for me, so it is getting quite on the long side as we just, you know, cruise through the different dates. But if you like looking at shield sovereigns, you know, you're going to have a pretty nice time, I guess. So we've got 5 here for this date. This is 1871. So let's just pop those four out first. I'll sort of go round, so that's a nice one. Tiny bit of damage on the rim. Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. None are like horrible. The bottom left one actually is very nice as well. Probably this is the... probably got slightly more wear on this one, but it's still... they are still nice coins. So I have obviously been doing this date run as a bit of a project. I also do buy, just when I see nice condition coins at the right price, you know, I do buy them. So this is another nice one here in the capsule. Yeah, I was just saying that in terms of the, you know, the coins, I do buy depending on the price. So if it's a date that I need, I will, you know, consider it. But if it's really worn, it has to be cheap. And even then, I'd rather just wait and buy a slightly better one, you know, slightly nicer one. So out of these 1870s, we've got a bit more wear on these two. I'd say the left one is better. Yeah, if it's a, you know, if it's a premium coin, I don't mind paying as long as it's nice. So these have both got die numbers. That's quite a high die number on the left. It's 117 perhaps. And on the right looks like 88. Die numbers are pretty small, so I'll not get too worried about those. So 1869, I remember picking one of these up recently. I knew I already had the date, but it looked a particularly nice example, and that is this one here. So it does look lovely. If you're quite new to these, you're probably getting a feel for what looks like a nicer coin now. So out of these three here, the surface on this one looks far nicer than the other two. Just looks, you know, real sort of lustrous, and the detail in the hair is good. You know, there's no like big obvious scratches or dings or anything. The top right is probably next. It does have a few sort of circulation marks, tiny little nick in the rim, and then the left one, that it does look like there's a scratch on the neck. It isn't as bad as it looks under the light there, and there's a little bit more wear, so not as much detail in the hair. We'll flick them over quickly. Again, you're obviously welcome to pause the video if you want to look at anything a bit closer. But that bottom one, it really does have a nice finish to it. I'll probably put that one in a capsule actually. And that is 1869, so got a few spares of that now. On to 1868. Here we go with two similar. Probably the left one slightly better, but again, just nice, you know, nice coins. The one on the right does have that bit of, maybe it's a bit of grime, maybe a bit of toning, depending on what you want to call that. And we'll move on. So I'll try and keep it sped up a bit here, because you know we're already just over 13 minutes in. Maybe I'll edit a little bit, but probably just leave this as is. So 1866, similar, probably give it to the one on the right. But again, nothing horrible in there. 1865, just the one. So this one, slightly worn, bit of something sticky perhaps on the surface. And I would like to improve 1865, you know, get it up to scratch with the other ones. But it's not a bad coin, you know, it's, yeah, a little bit of wear, but it's nice enough. That's probably, you know, I wouldn't want them to be much more worn than that in my sort of stack. You might notice the difference on the scales, you know, slightly. That is probably one of the more worn ones here. This is just starting to wear, but, you know, nice enough. I would keep that in the stack. Die number on there. So we've got two 1863s. And if you're still watching, I guess you really love shield sovereigns. I do, but like I say, I did think about doing like an edited version, but this is more just like a bit of a stock take. So, well, yeah, both of these, they are a little bit worn, just in slightly different. The one on the right looks to have a better sort of surface finish to me, just like more of a sort of shine to it, if you like. more of a natural, you know, mint finish to the coin, but similar. So yeah, if I saw a really nice 63, it'd be good to get one of those. 62, you know, nice enough. Tiny bit of wear there on the hair again. Probably getting sick of me saying that, but yeah, decent enough, like I say. There was a few in the past where, you know, I was trying to improve them. Don't really think we've hit any of them yet, you know. I have done quite well recently. I have been paying, you know, a bit more premium for some, but I think it shows in the quality of the coins that we've picked up recently. So 1860, I think, is one of the ones I picked up more recently. And that, yeah, it's a bit worn. There's a bit of a mark on the Queen's cheek there. Again, it looks worse on here, but something interesting with that date as well. The 0 looks like an O, I think. It looks like a variation perhaps, but again, it is a bit worn, so I won't get too excited. No mint mark on there, and no die number either. 1859, only got one of those. Yeah, nice enough. It's not the Ansel variety, which might be something quite a few people know about. Quite a famous variety of sovereign. Bit of wear, but not bad. I would probably upgrade that if I got the chance, if I saw a nicer one. We'll go to 57. The finish on this looks very nice, and there's a little mark on the neck, a tiny bit of wear, but pretty good. You know, pretty clean. The fields look really nice on this one. And onto here. No die number, good detail, nice enough coin. We got two for 56, and let's have a look at them side by side. Ooh, yeah, so to me, again, one is a clear standout favourite there, the one on the right. Whilst there's a little bit of wear, it's not much. Definitely a bit more wear on the left, but still a nice coin. You know, I'd be happy to buy that one at a, you know, typical shield price. Again, no mint marks on these, no die numbers on these, so these are London minted coins. 1855, two coins here, both with a little bit of wear. I would probably pick the one left. I'd definitely pick the one left, yeah, definitely. One left is a superior coin there. But yeah, number 2, the one on the right there, is not terrible either, so I'd be happy with that. But that will do for that. 54. Yeah, nice enough. Few marks, not bad. Would upgrade if I saw a nicer one. We got 53, so I know I've got a few of them. Here we go. So bottom right is the sort of standout there. Bottom left is a bit more worn. This one, not bad. Probably similar to the bottom right, just a little bit of grime on it. And top right, yeah, nice enough. So I'll pop those down. But yeah, the bottom right there is, to me, the best coin. 1852, I've got 2 of them. The one in the capsule must be reasonable. Yeah, so the capsuled ones are probably the nicer examples. I'd definitely give it to the capsuled one here. Let's just flip them over so you can see like the luster, the difference. You know, the one on the right doesn't look bad, but this one on the left, the surface finish on it, that's sort of, yeah, that luster, that's what does it. Maybe if I kept them all in capsules, I'd all of it, but some of them come a bit more worn than others. So 1851, bit of wear there. Yeah, would upgrade if I saw a better one. A bit of wear on the sort of lines faces on that one. so I would expect this one to be probably one of the more worn ones. I wouldn't want to go much more worn. You can still see some lines in the hair there, but it's it's fine, passable. I don't have any issue with it. So we're getting towards the last few now, and let's see. So yeah, I bought these two together. I wasn't sure which one was the best because I had this 1850 with a tiny bit of ink, which does have lovely detail in the hair. The one on the left has no ink but does have a bit more wear there. So 1850 is one of the more tricky dates. So I'd say it's not super rare, but it is a bit less common. It does take a bit of premium usually to pick those up. So happy to have both of them. I don't have 1849, 48. I do have a 47 though. One I missed earlier, 1858, I don't have. So that is seemingly not very common. I've just not seen those around. 1847, I remember paying a little bit less for this one. And it's it's in the 40s, and it's still got decent condition to it. There's a bit of wear, but for an 1840s coin, I'd say that's pretty good. Happy to have that. Would I upgrade it? Well, maybe if I saw particularly nice coins from the 1840s and they were reasonable price, I'd probably pick them up. This 1846 came in recently. It does have a slight bit of wear on the hair, but very, very nice otherwise. Good coin. One I'm happy to pick up. So does the rim look a tiny bit bruised at the top? Maybe, but anyway, nice coin. It's not a mounted coin, by the way, but this one is 1845. It does look as if it might have been cleaned at some point, so there's not bad detail there. This one was quite cheap. The rims had a bit of a ding, but it's not like from a mount or anything. It's just probably been rolled along the floor or something at some point. Decent detail though otherwise, so apart from it possibly being cleaned, it just has that sort of shiny appearance, so not like a luster, but you see how it's more like it looks more like a proof would, more like reflective. So it isn't a proof coin, but that's sort of my interpretation of when you see a more cleaned looking coin. Some of them look polished and that like ruins the coin, but they're like, it almost takes detail off because they've been cleaned that hard, and obviously scratches are not a good look either. So 1844, this one was quite cheap. It's quite an early date, but there was a bit more wear on that, so yeah, I'd like to upgrade if one came about, but for the price it was worth ticking the date off. It costed a lot more than a bullion sovereign, so I'll pick that one up all day. 1843, second to last, and this one again was just a lucky dip, quite cheap again. A bit of wear, but I don't know, it doesn't look as, maybe it has been cleaned, I don't know. It doesn't look badly clean though, not like horrendous scratches or anything, or polished, so there's a bit of wear on the line's faces. Yeah, just it's an old coin, 180 years old. It's a little bit worn, and it was in times of circulation. So next we have 1842. This is my earliest date, and the three prior to that get a little bit tricky at normal prices. You're starting to pay some hefty premiums for those. So 1842, yeah, it's not the nicest coin in the world, but it's an old date in decent condition that I'm happy to have in for now. So yeah, not bad. So that has been quite a long video. If you like shield sovereigns, obviously you will have had a whale of a time here. And that is a roughly 66 shield sovereigns, walking you through them. So I would probably just, I remember this one easily, but this is the 1884. This is probably one of the nicer ones. There are some that actually were, not far off that. So in here there is one that is an AU58. I'm trying to remember which one that was, but I did break one out of the capsule. I'll have to check out which one that was, but then I'll be able to compare. So it'd be nice to actually have an MS, 62 maybe, or 63, just to compare to some of these and see how far off they are. There are, like I say, there are a couple of nice ones in here that are, you know, particularly nice. So most of these I have bought at just, you know, the bullion shield sovereign price, and then probably the last, there's probably 10 in there that I've paid a bit more of a premium, but I've still not gone crazy with them, to be honest. I could, you know, finish off a few more dates with a bit more premium, but I'd rather just take my time and, you know, accumulate them as and when they come up at the lower end of the price point. And yeah, there is a lot of duplicates here, so it's not the most efficient way of doing the date run, but I do just like picking up nice shield sovereigns. So ultimately I do think, you know, if you just have nicer coins, you are going to do better over time than if you have a date run full of turds and, you know, gnarled up coins and smooth ones and slicks and mounted ones. You know, it's not going to be as valuable as a collection as one that you've took more time with and, you know, picked out nicer examples. So yeah, you know, these are not the highest examples of the coins. You know, there's graded ones in all sorts of conditions and prices, and I suppose that would be the ultimate, you know, buy the nicest coin you can get of every date. But you know, here we are with our bullion sovereign collection, and you know, ultimately I do want to at least not be too far underwater with my sovereign collection in time. So I say some of these came in at £350 when obviously spot was a bit lower. Probably the most expensive, 450. Maybe a few pounds over, I can't remember just off the top of my head, but you know, we've got a nice low average there with with buying some in at, like say, 350s, 360s, 370s and 390s. Yeah, the more recent ones have been over the 400 mark, but we've got a pretty nice average there, and we're doing okay. So if you like shield sovereigns, hopefully you like this video. Thanks for watching.